the Salvador Dali perfumes very favorably were distinguishing themselves from even those famous and best-selling ones such as Chanel No. 5, Muse Dior, and all the Calvin Klein and all the others, because they never really went there when it comes to like girly girls, masculine men, and this, you know, all these like cliches of marketing of scents. They, from the beginning to the end, were works of art. The good news, we're going to talk about their exclusive line, which is fairly expensive, and we're going to talk about their main line.
And the last one from the main line that we're going to talk about is my kind of like charmer. This is what I call a charmer. Like, I love Scintillant and Cadaques for the refreshing qualities, but in a way it's like a daytime scent, right? Like, it's light, it just hits all the boxes. Let's just say that. But I wouldn't call it like the love of my life. This one, though, I must tell you, this is a bit much for me. This requires some connoisseur vintage lover taste to appreciate what's in this bottle. I find this to be a more wearable, more contemporary form of what I showed you before. So this is Belle Desolate. I hope I'm saying it right. So basically it's devoted to a big cat that Salvador Dali had, ocelot, I think, that he had as a pet in one of his villas. You can see it on the bottle, hope you can. A lot of people see a vagina there, just a warning to you. But you know, I guess if you're into seeing that kind of thing, you'll find it everywhere. But it's actually it's actually a big cat profile. So, Belle Desolate is a delightful shipper spy. That's what I call it, because it's not quite a shipper. It's sweet, ambery, apricot-y, kind of peachy perfume. But it has kind of like hidden prickles. Like, there's some parts of it that's just a little bit prickly and kind of like they jump in your nose, and every once in a while you get these little bubbles bursting. And that's what makes it this kind of like hidden, like shipper undercover type of perfume. But it's mostly peachy, apricot-y, ambery scent. But because it has some of that refreshing citrusy aspect to it, that every once in a while just jumps at you, that's what makes it special to me. If it didn't have that, it would be somewhat like not memorable. It would be just like a generic ambery sweet perfume. And maybe it's not that deep and not that special as I make it up to be, but it intrigues me. Every time I wear it, I enjoy it so much. It's a charmer. Like, to me, it gets like the charm award of the whole line. All right, now we're transitioning to the exclusive line that I managed to get myself a sample set. I wore them for several weeks straight. So basically almost used up all of the samples here. One word in case you come across this particular or similar set. You get 5 perfumes in it. They're all dabbers. So they're not sprays, but they're dabbers, and they're actually really well made, and I really enjoy dabbing them. It's actually a fairly good design for a sampler set. And the ones that I got here, I think it's not, I'm not sure if it's all of them or not, but the first thing that I noticed straight across, and I'm going to tell you about, they're all very similar. So they definitely belong to the same line. And in that sense, I don't quite see the need to collect them all. They're not sufficient, they're not different enough for you to hunt all of them down. However, we all know about situations when something is just your cup of tea and you are willing to have it in 50 shades of that particular note. So when I got them, and I got them over like definitely over a year ago, and I just put them aside. I tried them and I was not impressed. They were kind of sweet, oily, resinous. It's like, yeah, who cares? Like, there's so many ambery, resinous perfumes, not memorable. When I came back to them recently after I went to Dali Museum, and I remembered, oh my god, I do have this whole line that I'm just not even trying to give it a fair chance to wear it. And I started wearing them and fell in love with the way it was made. What is even more interesting, that Alberto Morillas made this particular line, and he is the person who is behind so many cult, kind of like trend-setting perfumes that is almost intimidating to say his name aloud. So he's the one who made Calvin Klein 1. He made Versace Bright Crystal. He is now basically the chief perfumer, the chief nose of Gucci Perfumes. So it's a decorated veteran from head to toe of iconic cult favorites. So he is behind this particular set, and maybe only now my olfactory taste graduated enough to appreciate what this meant, what this meant to be. So again, as I told you, all of them they share a lot in common. So in a way, if I were you, and if you like what you're about to hear, I would choose just the subtlety. I would choose the tonality that fits into your comfort zone, or something that you always wanted to try more. They're all recognizably different, but again, they're all very similar. So I wouldn't need all, but to be honest, want 2 out of 5. I'm kind of battling against my budget, because I really want to buy all the Amouages while they're still not reformulated. But at the same time, these just stole my heart recently. Anyway, let's start. The first one that looks at me is Melodie du Cygne de la Main. I will have to put the names down for you, because pronouncing this is not the easiest for me. Okay, so I'm gonna call it Melodie, right? By the first word of the name. This is a languid, gourmand, and velvety perfume. It has bergamot, violet, iris de Florence, orange flower, sandalwood, praline, important ingredient, and vanilla. So this, if you like sophisticated gourmands, if you like Elie Saab, if you like the best of Francis Kurkdjian, if you like exclusive line by Lancôme, because they have a lot of these sweet parfait kind of fragrances there. If you like exclusive gourmands by Guerlain, that's like, I almost want to say bottoms up. This is it. The praline note is definitely there, and I think that's what pulls it away from the all other 4 that we're going to talk about. It makes it unapologetically dessert gourmandise like. All of them in their base are somewhat oily, resinous, and ambery. All of these perfumes, at least the way that I feel them, the way that I perceive them, they leave in the darker, deeper spectrum of scents. So it's more base and the heart, and there's not much of an opening there. But that's what makes them, all of them, so delicious. In a way, I would call all of them gourmands. But this is the gourmand, the true gourmand of them all, because it has undoubtedly this confectious, delicious dessert, like somewhat caramelly or dulce leche type of note. Amazing, but not my favorite. The second one is called, let's see, Fluidite du Temps Imaginaire. Well, let's call it Fluidite. Fluidite? Yeah. So this one is sublime, radiant, and sensual tuberose. It has sambac jasmine, bergamot, Indian tuberose, saffron, bourbon vanilla, and sandalwood. Actually, 2 of these 5 have tuberose in them, but in one of them I almost don't feel it, and I'm hypersensitive to tuberose. Some of you may know that I can't wear tuberose perfumes at all. And I'm trying to build tolerance to the note so I don't have like a horrible migraine. That's kind of like why I don't wear them. They give me a horrible headache. So the Fluidite, I think this one indeed is a little bit more radiant. By that I mean it has a little bit more higher frequency, and this is what jasmine gives it. It gives it a little bit more ring, if you wish. But still, I feel pretty much the same base, sweet, resinous, somewhat oily, delicious. It's kind of like that's what perfume oils often the component that they have. It's the tuberose here almost gives a little bit of this kind of hard candy effect, but very subtle. Interesting, but not my favorite. The third one is Calice de la Seduction Eternelle. Don't fall. Okay, let's look at the Calice. Luxuriant and contrasted oriental woody. Jasmine, ylang ylang, cedarwood, Haitian vetiver, amber, vanilla, patchouli. So, one of my top favorite scents that I try not to recommend to people because it's too niche for many is 7th Hour by Cartier. It's their selective line, and the 7th Hour, the Hour L'Heure Défendue, that is the most exquisite dark chocolate patchouli that I've ever smelled. So it's not easy to impress me with dark chocolatey patchouli scents. Yet, Calice, it's not as chocolatey, it's more woody. It's ambery, woody, with kind of the width of mossy patchouli. But it's so intimate in some way. To me, these kind of dark patchouli scents, they're very intimate. They are not to be worn outside. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, I'm just speaking on my behalf. Like, I rarely wear dark, mossy or chocolatey patchouli scents to the outer world because I find them to be not the most stranger friendly. You have to love that kind of profile to really wear it, to really indulge in it. But if you do, you can bathe in them and just die of indulgence in this luxurious, seductive woodiness of how the patchouli is wrapped here. This is one of my top two. The only stopping point for me right now is that I keep telling myself I have a full bottle of 7th Hour by Cartier. It's gonna last me a lifetime. That one just lasts forever. But I do like this one too. I kind of do want it, and I'm just battling not to get it because I don't think I would wear it outside, but I would love to wear it to bed. I would love to wear it at home. I would love to cocoon in this, in the Calice scent. And the last one, as you probably by now figured out, my favorite out of the 5 is Regards Scintillant de Mille Beautes. And this is a carnal, mysterious, and elegant rose. Oh yes. Turkish rose, mandarin, I would even dare say mandarin oil, ambrette absolue, atlas cedarwood, musks. This is another one just this puzzles me, and I have to keep asking myself, are my tastes changing? Because I think I tell you in every other video that I don't like rose. I had too much rose perfumes in my life at some point, and I had to take a 4-year break from roses. And the type of rose that I vowed never ever to wear ever again was the Turkish rose. Back in the day, the Bulgarian and Turkish rose oil. They were very easy to find around. Like a lot of women who couldn't afford perfumes would just buy essential oils, and the Bulgarian rose and Turkish rose oils were everywhere. They're really cheap. I like the smell of them is ingrained in my memory. And unfortunately, it got ingrained together with this perception of poverty, of not being able to afford a more expensive and more sophisticated perfume. So ever since then, as soon as I smell anything that has a lot of rose oil in it, and if you're like sampled rose fragrances, you know what's different between the rose and many facets of the rose oil. Rose oil is this oily, somewhat sour, gem-like facet that adds to the rose. It's very condensed and it's almost sour. Like, that's probably the best I can describe it. It's here. It is here, but I absolutely adore it. Like, it's a miracle. This is the first Turkish rose oil or like Bulgarian rose oil scent that absolutely stole my heart. I don't recognize myself. Like, who am I to love this so much? In some way, it reminds me of a very recent, very expensive release, Mysterious Rose by Amour Oud. But that one, I would say, is a little bit more elegant. I don't want to like offend any one perfumer, but to me, Mysterious Rose by Amour Oud is very elevated, take it, sensual, lavish rose. But this is a very close second. And considering the price tag difference, I don't know where I would go, to be honest. This is so good. I'm like intoxicated by this rose. If you are looking for a dark, oily, rich, musky, but not sour, sensual rose that is, again, kind of like embedded in this kind of honey-like, ambery, resinous base, this. What's the name of it again? Regarde Scintillant de Mille Beautes. Hands down, just stole my heart. I'm like a bit obsessing, so I made a decision. I'm gonna wear the Mysterious Rose by Amour Oud in fall. I'm gonna wear this to the very last drop, and we'll see if at that point I'm still as desperate as I feel right now to have something like that in my collection. If you have any recommendations that would go in that direction, I can't believe I'm asking for advice about rose oil, but I am. Let me know. Maybe this is like a second breath for me. Maybe it's like, this is new me. 2020, everything is changing. I guess it's only fitting that I'll become a different person with a different taste in fragrances. Love it. Okay, so that was everything that I've ever had. I also had and let go of a few other perfumes. We're just gonna do like a quick run through them. I also had Sunrise in Cadaques, which is a beautiful, beautiful bottle. Bottle is definitely like a plus. It's definitely a factor they should consider to be like a plus toward the purchase. But Sunrise in Cadaques is a well-tempered kind of apricot-y amber, and to me it smelled generic. Somewhat similar in my mind to Chapard Casimir, but not quite there. So if you love it, if you love the bottle, it's a very wearable, sweet, peachy, ambery perfume, but to me it's kind of very secondary, like it's not unique enough. Dalissime that I gave to my mom, beautiful bottle. Like I kind of, every once in a while, I get this anxiety that I should buy it again just for the sake of having that bottle. Such a like collector worthy type of packaging, I'm not gonna lie. What it is in essence, it's kind of like a refreshing peachy milkshake. It's very simple, cheerful, somewhat synthetic. And the one that I, not often, but every once in a while I gift to my two friends who happen to be male, Laguna Homme. I find that this is a very well tempered Mediterranean aromatic perfume that is not too sweet, not too woody, not too smoky, not too harsh, not too aquatic. It's just like very well mannered. It's kind of like it's almost like a friend-zoned kind of guy who is about to get lucky finally, because like that's the character of that perfume. It's a sweet, loving, romantic, and somewhat sexy scent, but it's very tempered. You have to like the middle of the road, kind of. You have to love the balance in the perfumes in order to enjoy that one, because it's not pungent, it's not striking, it's not super vibrant. But again, like time and time again, I find that it makes a really good gift for guys who don't know what to wear, but they just want to smell romantic, I don't know, yummy, without really going too far in any extreme. And now I turn to you. Let me know, have you heard of this brand? What was your first introduction to it? What do you think about their price point, about their designs, about their direction that they took with the exclusives? I know that they actually have been releasing more flankers. I think there was a gold line, there was like a few other lines, but I'm personally a little bit taken aback by how not harmonious their marketing is. Like, they could have been way more popular, I feel. They probably deserve a little bit more attention that they get, but I don't really see them trying, to be honest. So I'm a little bit confused about their direction. I'm curious to see what you know about them, what you think about them, what you tried from them, what would you recommend, because I heard a lot of polar opinions. Some people say that this is like the niche by the price of a room spray, like this, like not even like designer prices. This is like super affordable. And some people say it's like gimmicky, there's nothing special. So opinions vary. I'm kind of curious to see where you fall when it comes to judging the line overall, or if you have any favorites or perfumes that you just don't understand by them. I'll be waiting for your comments, and thank you so much for your time. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video.